Hello, everyone. Good day. Let me start with what we are going to cover today, which we are going to cover about this is the first series of Azure Arc. We will be covering managed service, how we will be managing service through Azure Arc, and the agenda is basically we'll talk about some cloud computing, and we'll do some introduction to what Azure Arc is, and we will talk about what it does and what it doesn't, and we'll cover some basic Arc use cases, and we'll talk about a major thing that how we will be using Arc for extending the Azure management for any infrastructure. And then we'll be having a short demo of how we will be using Arc as our how to manage the service. All right, now that I have bored you enough with our background, now let's jump into the things that what we are here for. So before we do that, I just wanted to give you an idea of like what cloud computing is, so that this is the basis of what we are going to talk about going forward. So there are about like 4 deployments like in the cloud computing right now, and might be most of you are already aware of this, like your public cloud, private cloud. I added multi-cloud and hybrid cloud into this because it is a kind of a deployment that most people are leaning towards. But in general, the public and private are the most well-known ones. And while we talk about that, what are the key differences between them? I'll talk about that in the next slides. Whereas when you talk about the public cloud, it is owned by and operated by a third-party cloud service like Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, Alibaba, and other things. Whereas private cloud, you will be having all your resources and exclusively for that organization, and they are the owners of it. Whereas here in public cloud, you will be sharing that hardware and storage and other network devices with other organizations. And you have to use your own, you have to use the third parties policies that are applied on that. Whereas in private cloud, you are solely responsible for everything and you create those policies and you can have more freedom in exploring that as you're in private cloud. And to access the public cloud, you have to be through internet or through your web browser, you have to manage your accounts. Whereas private cloud, you are on a private network, you can go through your VPN and access that as well. Not only services, but infrastructure also you can maintain through that. So that's not exposed publicly. And best examples that we use for public cloud is Office 365, that's where people tend to use it, and for more development and testing wise, people try to use it on public cloud. Or as it is much less expensive, you can leverage that over there. Whereas private cloud is mostly being used by the government agencies. Because they want to keep everything private, so it's like more to large and very big organizations or business critical operations. You use the private cloud for. Now, since we know the difference between public and private cloud, let's jump into the next part of multi-cloud and hybrid cloud differences. So basically, the reason why I differentiated those two and these two separately is because multi-cloud and hybrid cloud, they all need public cloud and private cloud to be part of it. So basically, because when you create a multi-cloud strategy for you, but the reason why you're talking about multi-cloud right now is because that's a very big buzzword that is going around in the industry right now. The main reason is basically to, for example, like with the recent outages in public cloud space, they have a lot of big companies, especially with Netflix and other things, who first initially adopted the multi-cloud strategy. They found success, and everyone is going through that right now. The reason for that is basically you will be not vendor lock-in. So it's like and the other thing is also like a lot of clouds are a different way. So you have a lot of features in some cloud. You use different features in different space. Like for marketing, you use different one. For development and app work, you use different type of cloud. So there is a need for that as well. But I don't really recommend if it's to use a multi-cloud unless until it is really need. But it's a architectural decision. It depends on what type of industry you are in and what type of applications you are developing. It depends on that, and you can do a strategy on that and create an architecture around that for the multi-cloud. The best thing right now is that is hybrid cloud. It is the best of both private and public clouds, where you have certain infrastructure that mission critical applications in private, on-prem, or whatever that you can use it. And if you want to have anything that you want to scale it, and put that in the public cloud and scale it, so that you won't be paying more like costs for scaling up the public cloud. So it's much more flexible when you use hybrid cloud options. So that's the major difference between. So most of the multi-clouds can be a hybrid cloud, but not like the other way. So there's a little bit difference between these two. That's why I differentiated it. But the best one would be to be on a hybrid cloud, because there is a on-prem, there is a private clouds and the public clouds involved in hybrid cloud, whereas multi-cloud mostly deals with public clouds only. And so there will be no discussion with any session or any webinar that you do without talking about Kubernetes and on cloud, and you're not talking about Kubernetes. That much has the importance that Kubernetes acquired really recently. I'm a big fan of Kubernetes, and the reason why is because it is a platform. It is so independent, and it is well engineered for modern computing, and it is hardware agnostic, and it can be deployed with any cloud platforms. And if you are still thinking of like if you are trying to start up or do like to jump into the cloud bandwagon, so if you are planning to have any cloud implementation, I would highly recommend you start with Kubernetes. So that's because any cloud, irrespective of what you are in any cloud, Kubernetes is a way to go, and they all support it. So even if you want to move to a different cloud, it is very easy to move to different places. It's so flexible. So you can deploy anywhere. There's no specific hardware like you're using Azure, Stack or AWS or anything. It doesn't matter to what hardware you are. It can be executable anywhere. So, and it is easy to scale up and down. And it's very flexible as well. And to add to that, Kubernetes, the next topic that we are going to talk about is Azure Arc, is also built on Kubernetes, and it is also gives a new dimension to the hybrid. What is that? That we're going to discuss about. And the idea of using Arc is to basically right. So far we talked about how hybrid cloud is more like having on-premise, private cloud, public clouds, and all of them in one space. So you all have that. That is currently how people are moving. So for example, if a new company is trying to start and build up a new their cloud strategy in next 4 years, they don't jump right away or start their applications and pushing into the cloud. They slowly start like phasing out some applications, moving into the cloud. So that means there are certain applications in on-prem, there are certain applications in cloud. So this is kind of a hybrid cloud that you are maintaining right now. So now the problem comes over here is that how do I maintain some things that are there in my cloud and sometimes some stuff that are maintained in my on-prem. That's where the new product that that Microsoft has launched in Ignite back in November solves a lot of issues with. So the idea with Arc is to have a complete management and use the Azure management portal along with it in any way. So the idea is basically if you have a cloud strategy that involves managing and operating workloads across different infrastructure environments, or like they are in on-prem, like with either you are using Azure Stack Hub, Stack any hardware, or you are using Edge, Azure Edge, or Stack Edge kind of devices, or you are having multi-cloud, like you have Azure, you have AWS, you have Google Cloud, Alibaba, anything. You can manage all of those things from one single pane of glass. that's the main idea of using Arc. So what it does do, it's built on Kubernetes, and you can manage all the resources through Azure portal, whether it's an on-prem, in public cloud, or in Azure. And you can perform deployments using Azure Resource Manager and tools like PowerShell, Azure CLI with ease. And you can manage Azure Arc using any Azure policy, same as what you do in Azure. So it gives you that flexibility and a lot of help, or you can do a lot of things, R&Ds as well through the Azure Arc. And it does currently support using Azure SQL DB. That is, they are bringing database services to the Azure Arc. But I would expect it would include more in the coming years, or like coming quarters. I think they will add more and more Azure platform services, so that it will help you in grow with the Azure platform. That's their go-to direction that I would prefer that Microsoft would be going towards. Since it is built on Kubernetes, Microsoft can ship all the components to hook into your Azure upper management. So that is very good, so that you will get a overall Azure-like experience, irrespective of what device, what environment you are in. Either you are in multi-cloud, or like either you are in different private cloud, public cloud, like AWS you're using Google Cloud, or you're using Azure itself. You can use all of those in one single place, and that will help you in giving you an overall Azure-like experience for all of the different resources at one place. We'll show you how it looks like, how it helps in understanding how are the use cases that you use it Azure Arc with in coming slides. And what Azure Arc does and what it doesn't. So it's basically, Arc does is it manages a middle layer, and it connects your virtual machines to our Azure management tools, manages virtual machines from Azure portal, and it's targets for doing application deployments for like Kubernetes deployments or anything that you are using it for through the Azure Arc. But it doesn't install Kubernetes. It's not like an operating platform for a data center like AWS Outpost or Google Anthos or Azure Stack like that. It's like a stack-up, but without any hardware. So it uses a lot of features of Azure, but there is no hardware in it. It's like Azure kind of Arc is like a stack-up for software part. So how does this architecture looks like for an Azure Arc is like this. So there is an Azure management and a control plane, and then there are Azure Resource Manager, and Arc sits in between them. So this is a middleman for like all of them. So, and you can see all the virtual machines, or you can have the servers. You can manage clusters, Kubernetes clusters, and so forth. They are built in the servers. And you have the data services layer, like SQL Server and PostgreSQL, which you are again going to deploy in the Kubernetes cluster. And then you have what this redundant Dapper are like the new open source platforms that Microsoft has purchased, are projecting it to be a future to build microservices, to create application services using on the Kubernetes clusters. So these are the different things that you can manage through Arc. Basically, like you can Arc connects to your virtual machines to do your regular organize and govern across environment, and you can use Kubernetes clusters to manage Kubernetes apps that you are going to develop, build, or manage them. And data services part for SQL servers, you can manage them, you can patch them, you can upgrade them on the fly within the matter of seconds. You can do that. And this section is the application services that they are going to use for creating the apps in future, and then that's going to be deployed through the Arc as well. And so typical use cases for Arc are like the things that you are going to use are for like Windows VMs. So if you have a lot of not Windows VM, I should say, it's like any virtual machine. It's not like Windows or Linux. Any virtual machines that you have currently in the system that you can deploy either in Azure or on-prem, or you can use it in any other cloud space, you can basically organize them, govern them in single place. That is one of the use cases of Arc that you can be using it for. So the how we will be using it, why do we need that we will be talking in next set of slides. We'll talk in more detail. And another use case that typically Arc is being used is for managing your Kubernetes apps. So for example, if you want to have a Kubernetes application that you have built and you want to scale up and down based on your load or based on if you have in different locations, different tenants across the world, you can use Azure Arc to scale them across. And that will be our second webinar series that we'll be talking about in next month, and you guys can look into that as well. And then we will talk about more in detail about how we use Kubernetes apps at scale in that session. But today we will only focus on about how you can organize and govern Windows servers or like our virtual machines through Azure Arc. And another cool part of Azure Arc is they have brought the data services, which currently no other cloud provider has made it available so far in the hybrid space. Be it AWS Outpost or Google Anthos or anyone, there is no hybrid strategy where they have brought a data services part to a place where they can run it currently. Right. And that section also we'll talk about as our third webinar, where we will talk about how we can use Azure Arc to run data services anywhere. That will be doing. And the tasks that we will be performing as a part of an organized and governed. So we'll focus more about what are the Azure Arc use cases, like what we'll be doing it. So what we can do is, like with Azure Arc, customers can manage resource deployed with Azure and outside of the Azure through the same control panel. That is a single pane of gas that we were talking about, and it will ensure like with enterprises that can have Azure Security Center to ensure compliance that is registered with Arc, irrespective of where they are deployed. So the idea is basically if you have Arc, if you have different compliances that have been set up with Azure, you are basically using that the compliance that is being set by the company to be available across the board, irrespective of whether they are on AWS, if they are in Azure, they are in on-prem, or they are in anywhere. So you can add that compliance level, and you can have that audit logging that your company practices without any issue. And you can do patching of operating systems to running in the VMs with whenever you find any issues with that. You can see all of these things in one place. That's the idea of the Arc is. That's how rapidly that's how hybrid strategy they have completely changed when compared to other places, other things that we have in place right now. So you can basically perform advanced maintenance operations from public, hybrid, or multi-cloud. It doesn't matter where you are. It's that advantage with that. And when we're talking about this, Azure Arc gives you an additional thing, that is, it doesn't let you the older VMs that you have already created, that are already there, are separated from the list, so that they are right now the main things that you are going to govern them, manage them in from the Azure place through the Arc, basically. So basically, if you have old servers, old machines, you can still manage them from the Arc, irrespective of whether they are in on-prem, or if you have a new set of servers that are on different cloud systems, also you can manage from there. That's the whole idea of this Arc use case. And so how the Arc is going to extend the Azure management to any infrastructure. So this is how it looks like. So basically, any Azure Resource Manager will have a single pane of glass for management, and you can do role-based access control. You can do cloud-native practices. You can provide security and compliance to that, and through this Azure Arc, you can manage on-premise, multi-cloud, and edge, and all through different resources, through virtual machines, through Kubernetes clusters, or through data services of SQL. And these are the different things that you can do through Azure Arc. And we'll talk about what's the typical use case that we do when we are talking about how do we use Arc to govern across the environments. For example, if you have a large financial organization, that you have a different IT-based systems and Kubernetes clusters deployed in different data centers, private and public clouds. And now the issue comes is like you have these different systems, but you don't have the visibility across the environment. That is a typical use case that you see across. Like, for example, I have different set of servers that I have deployed. I don't know if for example, I have enabled a two-factor authentication for my Azure VMs, and they are working fine. But now I cannot apply the same set of things to other places, because that's not the policy that is there in on-prem. Or for example, if my company has acquired another company and they don't have that same compliance level, to bring them to that, we should, since they are now a part of my same umbrella, they have to have that same policies and governance that needs to be applied. And I cannot see that they are on the same state as what we are, even though if they are on different cloud or they are on-prem, I cannot do that. So that's where the Azure Arc with the managed services, managing servers, you can do that. You can basically apply policies, you can apply governance that has been created for you and the custom governance policies that you have created, and apply to either it can be an on-prem, it can be multi-cloud, or like a public cloud, private cloud, anywhere it can be. And that's the biggest advantage that Azure Arc is giving. So it's basically, it is so difficult to manage and govern to meet the compliance requirements, which is de facto for any enterprise right now, and starts being taken care with very ease, within a matter of minutes, that you can do that across environments. And that's the ability to measure and remediate the compliance at scale and down for any individual application, whether it's a server or a cluster. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter what cloud security or you have, or to on-premise. You can control all of them through Azure management portal, or Azure Resource Management portal, to be safe. And it doesn't matter what type of operating systems it is being deployed on, whether it is a Windows, or whether it is a Linux, or it's a Kubernetes cluster, or anything. It can be managed through Azure portal. Right. Let me give you a demo right now. Let me jump into that on what it looks like, how it looks like to do that. So this is the Arc of, like, you can look up Arc when you just search for Azure Arc in the Azure portal. So just search for Arc and you will be presented with the screen. And as you know, it is still in the preview. So you can click on Manage Servers. This is a section that we are going to discuss about. So as you see, we have different servers already in place over here. We created a resource group that is part of Azure Practice, and we added the servers over here. So there are like one Linux machine, which is currently running from Azure Arc, from on Azure, and it is built on, so you can see it's a Linux operating system of this one that is being built on. And we can click on the policies, and we can see exactly what different policies that are there. So you can see that it's already saying that it is not compliant for some of the audits that we have added on. You can see, you can assign policies as well for any virtual machine. But as I was saying, right, so these are the different machines that you can see here. One is a Windows machine, like a Linux machine, Windows machine, and there is a local machine that is there on our data center, which is running on, I think it is Windows 2019 operating system, or Windows 10, sorry, it's running on Windows 10. But it is not in the Azure. It is somewhere sitting in our Chicago office or somewhere in Karachi or someplace in India. And then we added a Google instance, like we created a virtual machine in Google Cloud. We connected to that, and this is also running on Linux. As you can see, that operating system that it says on TCP. So the idea of what I'm trying to show here is you can connect to any different system, any different virtual machine. It can be a Windows, it can be a Linux, it can be on any local data center, or it can be on Azure. All I'm trying to say is like all of those instances I can see in one place and here. And of course, I can always filter it out, what type of resources they are, and all of that, what type of location they are part of it. I can create a grouping as well. I can assign, look for the tags as well. And I mean, and then you can, if you have a large list, you can filter them. You can check what type of things that we can do with that. So I wanted to show you one more thing. So right now, if you see the virtual machines that I have like 5 virtual machines that are running on my in my resource group, and they are different virtual machines. One is a Linux, or different ones. But only like I have added only some parts of it to my Arc. Like for example, if you see, only like 3 of them that I have added of those 5 to my Arc. So to add a machine to Arc, to manage them, to govern them, it is very, very simple. It's not a big task that you can do. It's just running a PowerShell script that it readily runs it. And usually, how does it run? It's basically it creates a PowerShell script that gets created is basically an agent that runs on the machine. So how do we create it? I can just walk you through that. So I'll pick one of the servers right now. So I have recently created, as I was saying, let me take this R2, which is a Windows 2019 operating system OS. I think I have downloaded it already. So yeah, so this is my VM that I'm going to use it for running the Arc, just validating the Arc. I've just installed Firefox. I mostly like Firefox to use. So how we add a machine to Arc? So just go here to your Arc window, and here I'm just going to go back again just to make sure to give you an idea. So search for Azure Arc and come to your Manage Servers, and then click on Add button over here. Once you add it, it will give you an option to create a machine for using interactive script, or you can add machines at scale. But usually it is easy to just create one script, and we can reuse that as well. Click on Generate Script, and then here we can select the resource group that we are planning to use for. There are different resources groups that we have. I'll just pick off Azure Practice, that's what we are using right now. And you can select either it's a Windows or Linux. So when you create a Windows one, it will create a PowerShell script. When you create a Linux-based one, it will create a batch script. That's the only difference between these two. Irrespective, that's basically where that covers all the servers, whether it is a Windows or Linux. So you have that covered as well. And then you can click on Generate, and it will give you the script. So download it. I think I have already did it. So let's see. Okay. That script came to my other window. I'm going to copy that, and paste that script here. So now all you need to do is start a PowerShell. Just to make sure that you are an admin. So run as an administrator. a little bit slow. Okay. The script is on desktop, so it's marked as onboarding. Okay. So I'm just executing the script. So this is it is downloading the agent, and it will install the agent, and it will set up the agent for you. Once the agent is set up, you will get an option, a prompt to register this agent to your Azure Arc. We'll just get the prompts right now. Give it like a couple of a minute or two. So that's basically what that script was doing. I can show you that script as well in the meantime. Here it's basically it is downloading the agent, and it is going to execute the agent, and then it will tell you to connect to my tenant, that what ID that I have. That it's just that simple. It's just going to install an agent, and it's going to connect to the agent, and it will going to. It looks like the installation is about to get completed. Yeah, it is doing that. You can check that logs as well while it is doing that. It does a bunch of things. So as you can see, this is the installation log that you can see what are the different things. By default, when I'm adding this, it will automatically have the compliance part that we have enabled it as a part of the Azure. When you have Azure, it is bringing the industry standard like Azure leader. It's a leader actually in the setting up the compliance. That's one of the main reasons why everyone is going towards Azure. And also, as you can know, that even the government Pentagon has signed that big deal because of that compliance that they have. So now, once I have done it, it is basically added my server. But to add it, I have to do one final step. So I have to go to this the URL that is mentioned and add that security code so that it will make sure that it is doing it. We have a right device that is being attached, and so that there will be no issues going forward. So that's for that. .com/. It is paste it here. We have to make sure that we are doing this on the same machine that we have. So only need that it needs is an active internet connection. You can, irrespective however you want to do. So once you will be signed in, you need to connect your one time to the Azure portal once to your credentials. So when you see that, once you connected over there, now you'll see a message saying that over here that it's been completely onboarded and stuff like that. You will just get a confirmation message that it is ready or something. Give it a minute or two, and you will see that over here. It depends on the network and how much server has load on it, so it shouldn't take more than 2 minutes max. See, now you can see that you got a successful message, onboarded resources to Azure, and gives me an ID as well. So now the onboarding of the VM has been completed in Arc. So now I can just go to machines. So far you see 5 still. It will take a minute, just a second. So just a refresh. So now you can see there are 6. So just now the Arc2 that I have added, it automatically came over here. Now with this, even though this is on Azure, I can from here, I can add, manage, and govern my machine over here. Like I can manage access from here, like what type of roles, and I can give assignments and everything. If I connect this machine to my Azure Active Directory domain, I can do even more stuff. Like I can let users access the virtual machine from this place itself through the Azure Active Directory. Of course, ours are connected, so I can just provide access. So right now, I can just search for a role, and I can give it access to a different person altogether. So you can do all of these things with ease. These are different already are being assigned. I can give specific access to this resource as well. So it's like that. It makes life much easier. So irrespective of what place I am right now, I can do the same thing for Windows machine. I can do the same thing that is on a Google instance. If it's connected to my domain, I can just assign the roles or deny access from one place. And another thing that I can do is assign policies. For example, like I can go to policies to check the compliance. Like for example, I can set right now this doesn't have any policy. I can simply go here. Sorry. So by default, you can see there are so many policies, like 394 policy definitions that have been already be there, that have been set by Microsoft. So if you are basically have a SAX compliance or any side of different compliances that you are having, you can use that. Different types of compliances that are there. You can search by them. For example, I can say like backup. So it will give me all the policy definitions that are there. So I can add this. So this should be enabled for, I want all the backups needs to be enabled for all the virtual machines. So I can just enable this thing, and I can apply for this, and I can just create it. And if there is no backup being there, I'll see that this compliance has not been applied. I can apply to the whole resource group, and all the resources group that I have been part of this will see that whether this machine has been compliant or not. And I can check that, I can validate that from that resource group, and I can go and jump into it and take an action immediately. Because that I don't know what's happening in different places. Either it can be in different cloud or different on-prem service. I don't know what was happening previously. Now I can see everything in one place. That's the beauty of this product, and I think that's going to be a big game changer going forward for Microsoft, as well as for ease of work for any person who's being on Azure. And these are the two things that we usually do with this. Like you can manage access, organize, apply policies, check different policies that are being applied or not. How is it? What are the things that are working on? It can add different policies for different types of servers as well. Like for example, Linux machine, I can say like don't do port blocking, or like we can add a different compliance to that. It's up to us. We added certain things already. See this? I have already enabled that, and it's applied to that everywhere. So we can add different types of policies. You can create your own policy also. Like we created a policy definition to say like apply tags if does not exist. So we have added that option. So for any of the system that we want to have a tag so that it will be easy to look up and easy to manage. So we can help in creating even the different types of policies that you want to have it as a part of it, and you can see the status of it in one place. Whether this server is non-compliant or not. If it is not, then you can take actions on it. And you can also do another thing that is like you can port all of your logs to Azure Monitor, and you can monitor all of them in single place. because these are all connected to the Azure ARM, and I can do that. I can monitor all the logs also. I can port all of those logs into one single place and manage them from there, irrespective of they are on Windows Cloud, Windows, Linux, or Kubernetes. It doesn't matter. I can get all those logs and be posted in a single place, and I can manage them from one place. I can do that monitoring as well as it was here. I can add that part. That's another thing that you need to add to that. That is a thing that we wanted to show, and I can still show you that there are other virtual machines that I still have. So, for example, I can go here. So right now you can see there are 5, or there is another one like ARM3 that I have created a Windows 10 virtual machine. Again, this one is on a different location, as you can see. It's based off Southeast Asia, not even on Central US. It doesn't matter what region you are. It didn't take much long. It takes about like 5 max, 6-7 minutes based on your network speed and server load. It comes up pretty quickly into your Arc window. And with that, the demo is complete. We'll have a couple more things like what Royal Server do is basically we do assessments on our cloud architecture, on your cloud architectures. If you are planning to go to cloud architecture, if you are willing to have any POCs or for any implementations, we can give you a jump start with our expertise here, with all the practices that we have done so far. We can help you in understanding the current environment that you have. We can design, architect, and implement your Kubernetes applications. We can help you in application modernization. We do help in doing solution architecture for service, microservices as well. As a part of this webinar, we are giving like 40 hours of free consulting services for any of the things that you want to do. Either you want to assess your cloud architecture that you have designed, or if you want to start a new fresh cloud practice, we can help you in doing that. If you want to do any proof of concept, we can help you in doing that as well. And you can design and architect and implement any Kubernetes applications as well. And if you want to, you can reach out at marketing@royalserver.com, or you can reach out to Will. Will will be happy to take your calls and set up calls to look into those initiatives that you will be willing to work with us. And we do have other sessions. That is, how do we manage Kubernetes apps at scale? That's scheduled for February. And another one is how to deploy data services. With Arc, we will be discussing more in detail about these sessions, and you can mark those dates on your calendar so that we can sign you up and we can look into those things as well through Arc.
All right. Well, on behalf of Royal Cyber, we do want to thank you for joining us today. Thank you.